Good morning, everyone. How are you guys doing today? It's a bright early morning here in Tokyo. It is Saturday morning. I'm doing my lesson a little bit later than usual. I usually do my lesson at 7 a.m. in the morning, but I decided to do it a little bit later today to give people a chance to wake up and join me. So we're going to have a really good lesson today. We're going to be doing an advanced grammar lesson, but it's not so difficult. This will actually be a part two to the lesson. If you look at the actual lesson title, we'll be doing indirect questions. This is part two. We have done indirect questions in the past. We did it in one of my first live lessons. We did an indirect questions video, but we did WH questions. And then today we're going to focus on yes, no questions. That's all we're going to focus. Yes, no questions, but we're going to be asking them indirectly. So this is great for business. This is great for when you're traveling as well. So I'll give people a chance to join before I jump into the lesson. If this is your first time joining me, welcome. It's a lesson. I always put the lesson on the screen, so you will have a lesson to follow. I'll go over the grammar, we'll go over exercises, but mainly you will be speaking a lot in these lessons. And if this is your first time watching on the replay, the same thing applies. You'll see the lesson on the screen. And as always, if you want the lesson, if you want a copy of the lesson, just send me a DM, send me a direct message, and I can get the lesson to you. Some people have already asked. I've already sent those to those people. So do not hesitate. You can always ask. I can send it to you very easily. It's just a PDF. So I can just send that via email. All right, we've already got a comment here from Fusa. Thank you very much, Fusa. Thank you very much. Good morning to you as well. I can only read a little bit of Japanese. I can read that. My Japanese isn't that great, but that is that's suitable for my level. And thank you, Fusa, for joining. So I'm going to get the lesson onto the screen as we wait for other people to join. Hopefully we don't have any issues with this. It should be okay. All right, so that's today's lesson right there. Indirect questions. All right, Kaz, ohayo gozaimasu. Good morning to you, Kaz. How are you? How are you doing today? I hope you're having a great day. It's if you're wondering, I'm in Tokyo, and it's cold today. It's cold today, but it is relative. It's cold, but I think if I told you the temperature, you would think, no, that's not cold. Yeah, I think it's like 13 or 14 degrees, maybe 10. It's in the low teens or even in the 10s or 11s, but it's cold because yesterday was like 25 degrees. So the weather has suddenly dropped. Okay, we have some people joining, so let's jump right into the lesson. And the first thing we're going to start with is speak like a native. I've got one vocabulary word here. This is a slang word that we'll go over. The word is called wicked. Wicked. Now, some of you might have heard this word before, wicked. Wicked is usually used to mean evil. The original meaning of wicked is evil. So if you've watched any Disney movies, we know the Wicked Witch, the evil witch. But wicked, the meaning of wicked has changed. And in English, wicked has a new meaning. It's a slang word. So if you look at the example sentence, it says, the Grand Canyon views are wicked. The Grand Canyon views are wicked. What do you think that means? What do you think the new meaning of wicked is? XYZ, good morning. Good morning. Thank you for joining me as always. It's always great to have you in class. So wicked, what do you guys think wicked means? The Grand Canyon views are wicked. The Grand Canyon, this is in America. Beautiful, beautiful place. If you've been there, I want you to imagine the views. So if I said the views are wicked, what do you think that means? And if you know the meaning, just leave it in the comment section. If you're watching on the replay, just shout it out before somebody types it. And I'll give everyone the answer before we waste too much time. Here, wicked means great. Wicked means excellent or awesome. So all of these meanings, great, excellent, or awesome, that's what wicked means. So the original meaning of wicked is evil. The slang meaning is great or excellent. Okay, so that's the one slang vocabulary that everybody gets to learn today. Now, let's jump into our indirect questions. Today's topic is going to be indirect questions. So we're practicing questions. What's an indirect question? Okay, so to better understand an indirect question, let's go over what a direct question is. Now, if we look at the screen, I'm going to type in the blue box in this area. A direct question is where I begin the question using either a WH word or a verb for a yes/no question. For example, a WH direct question, I could say, what is your name? What is your name? That's a direct question. It's beginning with the WH word. If it's a yes/no question, a direct question is, are you Canadian? Okay, these are both direct questions. But we want to practice indirect questions. An indirect question is different. An indirect question, we will not begin with a WH or with a verb for a yes/no. We want to make this more polite. So we're going to be starting with a different phrase. These phrases make the question more polite. So it's useful for business and it's useful when you travel. And in today's questions, in today's lesson, we're only going to focus on yes/no. In a previous lesson, we did WH indirect questions. So if you want to practice that as well, I have done a live lesson on that. Just check my channel. Go to the live area on my channel. You'll find the lesson there. And I've also got a video of that on my channel as well. So there's two things that you can watch. You can go to the live, watch the old lesson I did on WH questions, or check out the video. Today, we are going to focus on yes/no. All right, so indirect questions, the format will be yes/no. All right, we've got YFS. Good morning. How are you today? Thank you for joining me. How's your morning today? It was tough getting out of bed this morning with the weather becoming much colder, but thank you for joining me. Okay, so how do we make an indirect yes/no question? We're going to make this very simple today. I'm going to give you three options of making an indirect question with yes/no. So I'm going to scroll down here. All right, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. So we're just going to look at the beginning part here. Now, we've got three phrases. We've got, do you know? We've got, can you tell me? And we've got, would you mind telling me? Okay. Can you tell me? Would you mind telling me? For all intents purposes, they're the same meaning. Would you mind telling me is very, very polite. It's very, very polite. It is the most polite. Okay. But can you tell me is also good. It's also polite. These are indirect questions. So every question will be polite. Now, I want to focus first on these two. Do you know and can you tell me? They are a little bit different. The difference of these two phrases is, do you know? I'm asking someone, do you know? But possibly, maybe they don't know. Maybe they know the answer, maybe they don't. So I don't know. I'm not sure if they can give me the answer. So I use do you know? Can you tell me? This question means the person will have the answer. The person will have the answer. Okay, so we'll go over this a little bit more, but I want to look at the whole pattern. I want to look at the whole pattern of how do we make an indirect yes/no question. So the first thing we do is I want you to choose one of these phrases. You can choose, do you know? Can you tell me? Would you mind telling me? That's number one. Number two, I want you to choose if or whether. If or whether. Both are fine. If is more common. If you're going to America, if you're going to Canada, if is more common. Next, number three, please have your subject ready. That's right here, your subject. And then number four, please choose the verb. Please choose the verb. So we've got four things we have to do. Please choose a phrase. Do you know? For example, let's choose do you know? If, subject, and verb. All right. Now let's look at a question. We've got a direct question. So the first part of the lesson is we're going to change the direct questions into indirect. So direct question, is the meeting today? Is the meeting today? If I want to make this more polite, I want to make it an indirect question. Let's change it. So first I've got, do you know? I chose the top one. Next, I'm going to use if. Here, the subject is the meeting. The verb is. Do you know if the meeting is today? Do you know if the meeting is today? All right. This is how we make an indirect question. Do you know if the meeting is today? Now, the great thing is the meeting. These two words, we just switch them. Do you know if? Then we switch it. The meeting is today. All right, just switch the verb and the subject in this situation. All right, let's do one more. Let's practice one more together right here. All right, I'm going to give you a direct question, and I want you to give me the indirect question. All right, so let's do the direct question. Do you have, let's change the subject. Does she have a pencil? Does she have a pencil? Let's change this to indirect. What would be my indirect question? All right, so again, we can choose from the top. Let's choose one of the phrases. So please choose number 1. Do you know? Can you tell me? Would you mind telling me? For practice, let's just use the top one. Do you know? Okay. What's next? We have to choose number 2, if or whether. Right? I like to choose usually if. Do you know if? All right, so next is going to be if in here. What's after? We need our subject. What's the subject? Okay, if we look at the sentence up here, my subject is she, right? Do you know if she? All right, so next I'm going to put she. And next I need a verb. What's my verb? I've got does and I have. In this question, have is the main verb. Have is the main verb. So I have to put have here. So this have will move into the indirect question. All right, so if we put here, we're going to put have. Okay, but that doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound right. She have doesn't sound right. She and have, that doesn't match. So we have to make sure that the verb is matching. So I have to change it to has. Do you know if she has a pencil? Do you know if she has a pencil? All right. So XYZ, perfect. Has, excellent. Yes, we always have to make sure our subject and our verb are matching. Yo, good morning. Nice. Thank you for joining me this morning. I hope you're having a good morning. All right, so if we just go back here to this yes/no question, and of course, I need to make sure that these are both questions. We put a question mark to finish always. If we look at, and I'll answer your question in a second, YFS. If we look at the top here, when I'm using be verb, which is am, is, are, the subject and the verb, we switch. We're just going to switch it. But the bottom one, I'm not using the be verb. Here I'm using do, does, and a second verb. In that situation, the verb and the subject, we don't switch. We just continue to say it the same way. So if we look, she, have verb, pencil, pencil. We just continue the same order. Okay. Now, XYZ, you asked me the question. You're asking me about if and whether. If and whether. I just deleted it all. If and whether. What's the difference? There's no difference. Whether means if. It has the same meaning as if. Whether is probably a little bit more polite, but it's also older. It's older English. It's not as commonly used as if. If is definitely more commonly used. You can use either or. If you want to use whether, you can use whether. It has the same meaning. Or you can use if, which is a little bit more common. You could use both. It's up to you, but it has the same meaning as if. So I think the first thing we need to do is we need to become comfortable in making indirect questions. So the first exercise we're going to do is we are just going to change a direct question and we're going to change it into an indirect question. So for example, number 1, I have done for you already. Number 1 says, all right. Number 1 says, is the meeting today? Indirect is, do you know if the meeting is today? All right. Is the meeting today? Indirect question is, do you know if the meeting is today? Wow, thank you. I was always confused about the word. You're very welcome, XYZ. Yeah, it's just a fancy meaning for if. Supergirl. Hey, Supergirl, how are you? Thanks for coming. Good morning to you. And today's lesson sounds challenging. I'm excited. Yeah, it sounds challenging, but honestly, Supergirl, it's not very difficult. Once we start making the sentences, you'll notice that it's not so difficult. It is advanced grammar, and it is really useful in business. It's really useful when you're traveling. But I think by the end of today's lesson, it will be really easy for everyone. So let's look at number 2. Number 2 says, are you coming to the party? Are you coming to the party? Now, what I want you to do is you're going to have to change this into an indirect question. All right. So you can use, for this one, you can use either do you know, or you can use can you tell me. I think for number 2, can you tell me is a better one. So I'm going to put that onto the screen. Can you tell me? So for number 2, please begin your sentence with can you tell me? All right. And please change it into an indirect question. Are you coming to the party? Please change that to the indirect question. If you want to know the order again, I'll put that right up here. Remember, we're always going to be if, subject, and verb, or whether, subject, and verb. All right, so back to number 2. Are you coming to the party? Please change this to an indirect question. And Yo has the answer. Can you tell me if you are coming to the party? Perfect. Perfect. And I'm going to write the first few on the screen so everybody gets a good idea. So, can you tell me if you are coming to the party? Now here we are using the be verb. Be verb, right? So when I use the be verb, the subject and the verb are going to switch. So you and are, you goes in front. You are coming to the party. So can you tell me if you are coming to the party? Now, in this one, I asked everybody, please use can you tell me? Okay, again, I want to go over this. Do you know Do you know? I only use do you know if the person I am asking, possibly they don't know the answer. Maybe they don't know the answer. So I will say, do you know? If the person knows the answer, I know they know the answer, I use, can you tell me? So in this situation, are you coming to the party? I'm asking my friend, are you coming to the party? Of course, they know the answer. So I will use, can you tell me? Okay, let's look at some other answers here. YFS, can you tell me if you're coming to the party? Perfect. Supergirl, can you tell me if you are coming to the party? Perfect. Perfect. Okay, let's do number 3. Excuse me. Did he finish the project? Did he finish the project? All right. Excuse me. You can choose, do you know? You can choose, do you know? Or you can choose, can you tell me? It's your choice. Do you know or can you tell me? Please change this into an indirect question. Okay, and then I'm going to I'll put that up there as well so everybody can see. Do you know if subject verb or whether subject verb? All right, and we've got XYZ. Do you know if he finishes the project? Very close, almost correct. Dio's answer, do you know if he finished the project? Do you know if he finished the project? This is perfect. Supergirl, can you tell me if he finishes the project? All right, almost. So if we look at Dio's answer is perfect here. And I'm going to go over this one. This is a little bit of a trickier one because my question is a past question. Did. So that means when I do the indirect question, I have to keep the question into the past tense. So if I go, can you tell me? And I'm going to be using if. Can you tell me if my subject is he? Now I need a verb. My verb, I've got did and finish. Finish is the main verb. So I don't put did or do in my indirect question. I just omit that. I can't put it in my indirect question. So I'm going to use finish, but I have to change it into the past tense. So can you tell me if he finished the project? And YFS, can you tell me if he finished the project? Perfect. Okay, let's do a few more of these sort of warm-up exercises. Does she know how to do it? Does she know how to do it? Please change this into a yes, no question, please. And of course, we can use if, whether, my subject and verb. And just leave your answers in the comments section. I'm just going to create a new banner here for everyone. So you could use that pattern there. Do you know if subject and verb? And we've got YFS with an answer. Do you know if she knows how to do it? Perfect. This is a tricky one. We put a yes, no, and WH into the same question. Well, XYZ, do you know if she knows how to do it? Perfect. Perfect. All right, and I'll put that as well. I'll type it onto the screen for anybody who's watching during the replay. If you're watching live, I know you can see all the comments in the comment section, but if you watch on the replay, you might not be able to see that. So I'll put the answers right here as well. So do you know if she knows how to do it? Do you know if she knows how to do it? Perfect. And do you know whether she knows how to do it? Perfect. And can you tell me if she knows how to do it? Perfect. Perfect. Very good. All right. Next, can they finish on time? Can they finish on time? This is the first time that we are using can. This is the first time we're using can, a yes, no question using can. What is your answer for this? I'll put the pattern up here. This is a grammar pattern. You could use can you tell me, if plus subject and verb, or do you know, if plus subject and verb. All right, we have an answer in the comment section here. And do you know if they can finish on time? Perfect. Do you know if they can finish on time? That was really good. So this is our first time using can. So it's do you know if they can finish on time? Now, I want to just go over number 4 and 5. You know, if we look at number 4, I want you to look at the does. This word does, we don't put it in the yes no question. It doesn't come down to the yes no question. In fact, we're not going to use it. We remove it when we do an indirect question. But if you look here, can, I'm also going to include it in my indirect question, right? If I'm using the be verb, I put it into the indirect question. If I'm using can, I put it in that indirect question. If I use do or does, we never put do or does into the indirect question. Okay, so only do and does. If you notice, next question is will. Okay, will, we can put it into the indirect question. Okay, so do and does, please do not put it in your indirect question. Okay, number 6. Will they come tomorrow or the next day? Will they come tomorrow or the next day? The previous one, do you know if they can finish on time? Supergirl, perfect. Can you tell me if they can finish on time? Perfect. And YFS, yes, good. So just do and does. Do not bring it down into the indirect question. All of the other verbs you can include, including number 6, will. Will they come tomorrow or the next day? Please change that into an indirect question. XYZ has an answer. Do you know if they will come tomorrow or the next day? Perfect. Perfect. So you included the will. You use do you know? Perfect. All right. So In that one, XYZ used this sentence pattern. Do you know? And we've got some other answers here as well. Supergirl says, can you tell me if they will come tomorrow or the next day? Perfect. So XYZ used, can you tell me? And then do you know if they will come tomorrow or the next day? Perfect. All right, let's do one more. Let's do one more, and then we'll move into the more difficult exercise. This one, we're just changing it. We're just practicing. We're warming up how to make indirect questions. Number 7 is, should I fill out both sides of the form? Again, we're using a new verb, should. Should I fill out both sides of the form? Please use an indirect question. You could use, do you know? If plus subject and verb, or you can use, can you tell me? If plus subject and verb. And everybody who's watching this after the live lesson, if you're watching this right now, if you're not live, you're watching it during the replay. If you're not a subscriber, what are you waiting for? Hit the subscribe button. It's completely free. This channel, my lessons, will definitely help you improve English. At least I hope. I hope they will. I'm pretty confident they will. So yeah, hit the subscribe button. Everybody who's already subscribed, thank you. Thank you for joining my lessons as always. So, should I fill out both sides of the form? Supergirl has an answer. Do you know if I should fill out both sides of the form? Don't forget the. I know it's just a typo. Dio says, can you tell me if I should fill out both sides of the form? Perfect. XYZ, do you know whether I should fill out both sides of the form? Perfect. Perfect. Make sure there's no E on both, but I know that's just a typo. All right. Perfect. I think we're comfortable making yes/no questions. I think we're comfortable making yes/no questions. So let's move into the more active part, a little bit more challenging part. This is where you have to think a little bit more. YFS, do you know if I should fill out both sides of the form? Perfect. 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 So what we're going to do next, in the next section, I'm not going to give you the direct question. I'm not going to give you the direct question. I'm going to give you a scenario or a situation. I want you to listen or read that scenario, that situation. And then I want you to think, in this situation, what yes/no question should I ask? Then, of course, we don't want direct. We want an indirect question. So think of the question and then make it an indirect question. All right, so let's look at our scenarios here. Let's look at our situations. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. I keep coughing. We'll do number 1 together. We'll do number 1 together. I'll give you the situation. I'll explain the situation a little bit as well so that you're very clear. And you have to choose, can you tell me or do you know? You have to choose one of these. All right, so depending on the situation, you have to choose either do you know, maybe they don't know, or can you tell me? That means they know the answer. All right, so number 1, situation number 1. It says you are whale watching. You are whale watching. So that means you're on a boat. You're on a big, big boat, maybe a ship, and you're whale watching. Your hope is you want to see dolphins, right? You want to see dolphins. You want to see, dolphins in nature. So, of course, you have a whale watching guide. You have a whale watching guide. So the whale watching guide is an expert. This person is always taking people whale watching. What question will you ask the guide? What question will you ask that guide? Remember, you want to see dolphins. So what question will you ask the whale watching guide? And then remember, make it yes, no. We're going to be making an indirect question. Now, do I use do you know or do I use can you tell me? You have to choose the correct one here. Now, in this situation, does the guide know the answer? If the guide knows the answer, can you tell me? If the guide doesn't know the answer, then do you know? All right. Once you have your question, please leave it in the comment section. Anybody who's watching on the replay, just type them into the comment section or just speak them out loud. All right. So you're whale watching. You want to see dolphins. So you walk up to your whale watching guide. This is the person who's organized this whale watching trip. What will you ask her or him? What's your yes, no question? And then, of course, change it into indirect. Okay, so we have a couple of answers here. Supergirl says, do you know if I can see the dolphins? Okay, we don't need the here. Do you know if I can see dolphins? And Dio says, can you tell, don't forget here, can you tell me, I think it's just a typo, if we can see dolphins? XYZ says, do you know if we can see the dolphins? No, the. All right. Dio, can you tell me if we can see dolphins? I like this. I like both XYZ and Dio. You both use the subject we. We. I think we is the best choice here because most likely you are whale watching with many people. There are probably many people on the ship. So it's not only me who can see the dolphins, it's all of us. So I think we is the better subject. So yeah, can you tell me? And in this situation, I would say, can you tell me is a good choice because probably the whale watching guide knows the answer. But do you know is also acceptable because if you have ever gone whale watching, nothing is 100% certain. So even do you know is okay. So do you know if we can see dolphins? Do you know if we can see dolphins? Can you tell me if we can see dolphins? Perfect. So I'll put that onto the board here as well. Can you tell me if we can see dolphins? Can you tell me if we can see dolphins? Now, I can make this even more polite. I can make this even more formal. I can change the can in the second part. So can you tell me if we are able to see dolphins? Same meaning, but it's become more polite. Same meaning, but it's become more polite. YFS, can you tell me whether we can see dolphins today? Nice. I like that you added the word today. Very, very good. Okay, let's go to this next situation. Next situation is you're at a hotel. You're spending the night at a hotel. Maybe you are on a trip. Maybe you're on a business trip. You want to know if the hotel pool is open at night. You know, hotel pools, usually the daytime, they're open. You want to know if the hotel pool is open at night. All right, Leo, very good. YFS, you have a question. What about could you tell me instead of can you tell me? Yeah, could you tell me is also very, very good. Could becomes even more polite. Could is more polite than can. Very good comment, YFS. Yeah, you could use could. All right, so if anybody can see YFS's comment here, we've been using can you tell me, can you tell me. If you want to change that to could you tell me, that's also okay. It's even more polite. But like I always say to everyone, I said it's more polite. That doesn't mean can is bad. Can is also great. Please use can. Don't be afraid of can. Can is not a bad word. It's not rude. I use can more than could. So it's completely fine. But yes, could will become more polite. All right. So number 2, you're at the hotel. You want to know if this pool is open at night. And XYZ has an answer. Can you tell me if the hotel pool opens at night? Okay, this is really good. This is I understand this question. If you asked me this question and if I were the hotel worker, I would understand your question. I would answer you. But we need to fix the grammar a little bit to make it perfect. I think we all want to speak. We don't need to always speak perfect, but let's try to. Now, XYZ, you said here, oh, let's go down to this one. Can you tell me if the hotel pool opens at night? Completely fine. And now in conversation for communication, this is a great, great answer. If we want to make this perfect, if you're taking a grammar test, then we need to change this a little bit. So if you look here, my subject is hotel pool. That's my subject. Now, verb is opens. Okay. Hotel pool cannot open anything. Hotel pool is a thing. People will open. People will open it, not the pool. Pool cannot do the action. So in this situation, you know what? In YFS perfect timing, YFS perfect timing. Can you tell me if the hotel pool will be open at night? Okay, so I'm going to be using be verb. And open is an adjective, not a verb in this situation. Right? And YFS, your answer was future. What I might do is just use present tense. Can you tell me if the hotel pool is open at night? Is open at night. YFS, you did will be. That's fine. But if we do will be, we're talking about only tonight. And if I use present tense, if I use is, that means I'm talking about every night. Not only today, but tomorrow, the next day, next week, every day. So present tense is talking about a routine action. So that means every day. So I think is maybe is the better verb to use here. Wife as yours is also very good. Dio, you have a question. In business situation, be able to is better to use than can. Yeah, it's more formal. It's more formal. I would suggest be able to in business is better. Good question, Dio. And then your answer as well. Do you know if the hotel pool opens at night? So same thing as we just said. It's better to say if the hotel pool is open because pool cannot do any action. A pool is just a thing. Thank you so much. You're very welcome. And YFS, eye-opening. Yeah, we always want to keep present tense if we're talking about fact. And we've got Supergirl. Do you know if the hotel pool is open at night? Perfect. Perfect. And do you know, though, if you're asking, Supergirl, if you're asking another person who is staying at the hotel, maybe you're asking another, customer, then do you know is good. If you're asking your friend, do you know is okay. But if you are asking the hotel worker, my assumption is this question, maybe I'm asking the concierge, or I'm at the front desk lobby, or I've called the front desk. So if I'm talking to a hotel worker, they definitely know the answer. They definitely know the answer. So in that situation, if I'm talking to a hotel worker, it's better to use, can you tell me? Can you tell me if the hotel pool is open at night? All right, because they know the answer. All right, so I think can is a better option here. Let's look at number 3. Number 3 says, you are not sure if it will rain today or not. You're not sure if it will rain today or not. Your friend or your coworker always knows about the weather. I think we always have one friend who loves weather, right? So this person, your friend, your coworker, always knows about the weather. You don't know whether it will rain today or not. What will you ask your friend? What will you ask your friend in this situation? Supergirl, this is very difficult for me. Is plus regular tense verb. Is plus regular tense verb. Oh, sorry, you looking here. Is and open? Open here, Supergirl, is not a verb. Open here is not a verb. So yeah, I think this is where it's confusing. Open is a verb, but in this sentence, open is not a verb. Open is an adjective. Open is an adjective. I want you to imagine if you are going shopping and you go to a store very late at night or very early in the morning. When you go to a store, sometimes the store is not open. It's closed. So they'll have a sign on the window. The sign will either say open or closed. These are both adjectives. Okay, so we are open, we are closed. These are adjectives, not a verb. So when we have an adjective, we always use the be verb. All right, so try to think of any adjective. Okay, for example, today I said it's cold, cold. It is cold. Be plus adjective, is cold. This is my coffee, delicious. It is delicious. All right, the store is open. The store is closed. So yeah, very good comment. Yeah, so open is an adjective in this situation. All right, so you're still confused, okay? I hope that explanation helps you. That's an adjective. Oh my God, thank you very much. Yes, yes. I'm glad you understand. Yeah, open in this situation is an adjective. Yeah, it is confusing because open is also a verb, right? If I'm talking to the worker, then I'm going to use a verb. When do you open? That's a verb. But the store is open. The store is closed. Those are adjectives. Very, very good comment, Supergirl. I'm sure other people were also confused about that. But so I'm glad you asked that question so everybody could be clear. So open and closed in this situation up here. Open and closed. Open and closed. Let's put a dash here. These are adjectives. All right, great comment. YFS, this is a great lesson. Thank you. Amazing teacher. You guys are very kind. Too kind. You're going to make me blush. So, number 3. Let's try number 3. You're not sure if it'll rain today or not. Your friend or your coworker always knows about the weather. What indirect question will you ask? And remember, you can either be using can you tell me or do you know? It all depends if you think the person knows the answer or not. And remember, if you guys are watching this on the replay, you can always put all your answers in the comment section. I will leave you guys some homework as well, so you have a chance to challenge yourself without seeing the answers. Dio has an answer here. Can you tell me whether it will rain today? Perfect. So here you're confident your friend will know the answer. Can you tell me if it will rain today or not? XYZ. Perfect. Dio, you added or not. Also perfect. If you want to put or not, you can. If you don't, you don't have to. Perfect. YFS, can you tell me if it will rain today? Perfect. Okay. Excellent job. Let's look at number 4. I think number 4 is a situation we've all been in before. Situation number 4 says, you're in a cafe with friends. You need another chair for your table. That means there's not enough chairs at your table. The next table, they have an extra chair. What will you ask the person at the next table? What will you ask the person at the next table? So remember, you need an extra chair. Let's make it a little bit bigger so everyone can see. You need an extra chair. The table next to you has an extra chair. What will you ask the person at that table? Supergirl, can you tell me if it will rain today or not? Perfect, Supergirl. All right, so number 4, do you know or can you tell me? Which will you use for this situation? I think we've all been in this situation before. You're at a table, you're at a cafe, you're sitting down, or you're about to sit down, and you're like, oh no, not enough chairs. I need a chair. The table next to me has an extra chair. I need to ask that person. And XYZ says, can you tell me if I am able to take your chair? Perfect. You became very polite here. Can you tell me if I'm able to take your chair? Good. YFS, could you tell me if I can steal your chair? Nice. Very good, YFS. You used a really good slang word here. I'm going to put your answer up on the board, YFS. All right. So YFS used this word, steal. Steal means, it's a very bad meaning. It means that I am taking something that doesn't belong to me. And if you steal, usually the police will come and you'll have big problems. Steal is not a good action. Okay. Steal means, if you go to a store, you take something without paying. That's stealing. Stealing is not good. But in slang meaning, steal means borrow. Steal means use. It's a very playful word. So if you're talking to a stranger, even though it's a stranger, you want to be polite. We also want to be friendly. We want to be a little bit funny. I often use the word steal. I often use the word steal. All right, so it just means use. Could you tell me if I can steal your chair? Dio, your answer. Can you tell me if we can have a chair? Good. Super Girl, would you mind if I can have a chair? In this situation here, I like would you mind? It's very, very good. Would you mind if I now this one's really good too. Supergirl, you changed it here. Would you mind if I take your chair? I like that. Now, I want to put this on the board as well. I didn't explain this properly, I think. So let's explain it properly right now. Let's get rid of that arrow. And let's move this down. Now, would you mind? Right. Now, this is one I've done this before in another lesson, and I don't think I taught it perfectly here. Would you mind is great. I really like this. It's very polite. Would you mind if, and then my verb must be past verb in this situation. Okay, let's put our subject first. Sorry, subject plus past verb. All right, so this one is really, really important. Would you mind if or whether the subject and the past verb? So, Supergirl, your answer was perfect. We just need to change the verb into the past tense. So, would you mind if I took a chair? Okay, and I changed a chair, not your chair. Your chair means I'm taking the chair the person is sitting on. I don't want to take the one they're sitting on. It's the extra chair. So would you mind if I take a chair? Or would you mind if I took this chair? Okay, so Supergirl, does that make sense? When you use would you mind, the verb must be past verb. Okay. No, I didn't accept. So you said I make the same mistake over and over. I didn't say it clearly that when we use would you mind, we need to have past tense. So I didn't explain it in the grammar section. So I'm explaining it now. Would you mind? We're going to use past verb. And if you don't want to think, oh, when do I use past? When do I not use past? Would, whenever you have would, please use the past tense. Please use the past tense. But I'm going to give you one more option. I'm going to squeeze it right in here. Let's move this here. Let's put this a little bit higher. Do you mind? If I use do you mind, then my verb is just going to be regular verb. Do you mind? It's just going to be a regular verb. Would you mind? It's a past verb. Right? So I could say, and it's too small. So do you mind? Regular verb. So do you mind if I take a chair? Do you mind if I take a chair? Then would you mind is going to be past. So would you mind if I took a chair? Right? So do you mind? Do you mind if I take a chair? With do, regular verb. With would, past tense verb. Yes, I know it somewhere in my brain, but I kept the same mistake. That is okay. I kept making the same mistake. That's okay. Don't worry. Don't worry. And I'm glad you like the word steal. Yes. So I would probably say in this situation, do you mind if I steal a chair? Do you mind if I steal a chair? You know, you could use, could you tell me if I can steal your chair? I think better is, do you mind? Do you mind if I steal a chair? Okay, very good. Let's do a couple more. Let's do a couple of more. Let's do, I like this one, number 5. We'll do number 5 and number 6 together. And then 7, 8 are from homework. All right, number 5. I want you to imagine you are shopping. You're shopping. You want to buy jewelry. Maybe you want to buy new earrings, a new ring, maybe a necklace, a bracelet. You're looking for Tiffany's. All right. You want the little blue box. You want Tiffany's. But you don't know this area. So you're looking and you're looking and you're looking for this Tiffany's. You can't find it. You want to go to Tiffany's. You see a police officer. You see a police officer. So you're going to ask the police officer a question. Again, you don't know this area. So you're looking for a Tiffany's, but you're not even sure if there is a Tiffany's there. So what will you ask the police officer? What will you ask the police officer? You're very welcome, Supergirl. You're very welcome. And do you know, can you tell me? And then we also learned, do you mind or would you mind? Right? So you're looking for a Tiffany's. You are new to this neighborhood. You've never been to this neighborhood, but you see a police officer. What will you ask the police officer? Now, I don't want a WH question. Remember, this is yes, no only. Only yes, no. And anybody's watching on the replay, number 7 and 8 will be homework. So you will have a chance to do that without seeing the answers on the screen. I'll put 7 and 8 at the very last part of the lesson. So you just take a screenshot of that or just pause the video. So number 5, you're shopping. You're looking for a Tiffany's. Tiffany's, of course, is the famous jewelry store. All of their jewelry comes in the little blue box. But again, you're not sure. This neighborhood is a new neighborhood. You've never been there before. You see a police officer. What question will you ask the police officer? Remember, it has to be yes, no. Number 5 is the most difficult one so far. If we're just thinking about grammar, number 5 will be the most difficult one so far. So the best way to answer these is always in your mind. I want you to imagine the situation, imagine the scenario, right? So you see a police officer, you walk up to the police officer. What will you ask? XYZ says, can you tell me if you can give me the direction to Tiffany's? In this one here, this is more of a request. So, can you give me? And this is also really good. I want to just bring, you know what, I'll just copy it. All right. So What's a request? Request is when I'm asking someone to do something for me. Can you question? If I'm doing a request, if I'm making any type of request, then you should be using do you mind or would you mind for my indirect question. Okay, so if it's a request, can you question? That means I want someone to do something for me. Then please use do you mind or would you mind? So if we changed your sentence here, XYZ, and we're going to use do you mind? And this one's going to be a little bit difficult. Do you mind? There's no if. Do you mind telling me the directions to Tiffany's? So here we've got a completely different vocabulary grammar form. Do you mind telling me? Anytime we have a request, we're not going to be using if. Do you mind telling me? YFS, same thing. Do you mind if you can give me directions? Same thing. Do you mind telling me the directions to Tiffany's? Dio has one. Do you know if you are able to tell me where the Tiffany's is? You're so close. You're so close. You're so close with this, Dio. My answer is very similar to what Dio is doing. What I would say, and I'm going to say, can you? Because a police officer will know that area. That's what my answer would be. Can you tell me? Oh, I forgot me. Can you tell me if there is a Tiffany's near here? Can you tell me if there is a Tiffany's near here? YFS, yes, there's no if. No if in that. When we do a request, it's do you mind, would you mind? Anytime we do that request, it's going to be plus verb ing. Verb ing. And the same thing with would you mind. Would you mind is also going to be using the verb and ing. All right, so my answer here, can you tell me if there is a Tiffany's near here? My yes/no question is there a Tiffany's near here? I'm asking the police officer. I'm imagining I see the police officer. I don't know this area. I don't know if there's a Tiffany's here. I think this neighborhood, it's a very rich neighborhood. Probably there should be a Tiffany's, but I don't know. Police officer will know. So I will ask, is there a Tiffany's near here? But I want to be polite. So I go yes, no. Can you tell me if there's a Tiffany's near here? This is a great, great question. Please memorize this question. Right? Can you tell me if there is, and then anything, you can change this. Can you tell me if there is an ATM near here? Can you tell me if there is a hotel near here? If there's a taxi stand near, a bus stop near here? Okay, yes, simple sentence. Simple, yes. Simple is always best. Simple is always best. No, nice. And YFS, I think that's a high five, so I'm high-fiving you back. Okay, last one. Number six. You're in a restaurant and about to order. You want to substitute the blue cheese dressing for Caesar dressing. but you don't know if it's possible. Some restaurants don't let you substitute anything. But you should ask. What will you ask the waitress? What will you ask the waiter? XYZ, you're welcome. All right. What is your answer here? You don't know if you can substitute blue cheese for Caesar. A lot of people don't like blue cheese dressing, so they want to substitute it. They want to get a Caesar dressing or a ranch dressing. I love blue cheese. I wouldn't substitute it, but a lot of people will. But you need to ask the waiter or the waitress. And just leave your comments in, or your answers in the comment section. And then once the lesson is done, if you're still confused, and if you're watching this on the replay, if you're confused about anything, if you have a question about any of our answers up here or any of the grammar, you can always ask me in the comment section. If you want a copy of this lesson, including all of the answers I've put on the screen, let me know. I can send you this exact lesson copy. Just DM me. Give me a direct message. You'll find the information on my channel. There should be an email address you can email. XYZ says, can you tell me if I can have Caesar dressing instead? Perfect. Nice. So we did a lesson using instead. And I know XYZ, you were there, so great use of that. Can you tell me if I can have Caesar dressing instead? If you wanted to make it longer, you could say instead of blue cheese dressing. But you don't need to in this situation. The waiter or the waitress understands that the main dressing is blue cheese, so we don't need to repeat everything. Okay, any more answers before we wrap things up? Okay, very good, XYZ. Good job. Can you tell me if I can have, oh, we got one more here from Dio. Can you tell me if I can change the blue cheese's dressing? I would say here, can you tell me if I can change the dressing? Not the blue cheese dressing. If you want to say blue cheese dressing, no S, not cheeses dressing, blue cheese dressing. Okay, Caesar dressing. In this situation, then, you want to say, can you tell me if I can change it to Caesar dressing? Can you tell me if I can change it to Caesar dressing? But I think that instead is just an easier word to use. So can you tell me if I can get Caesar dressing instead of blue cheese? Okay, can you tell me if I can get Caesar dressing instead of blue cheese dressing? All right, YFS, can you tell me if you can? If you can, this is going to be a request again. So it's going to be right at the top of the screen. You can see the request. Would you mind bringing me Caesar dressing instead? Would you mind bringing me Caesar dressing instead? This is a request. So we would use would you mind bringing. Anytime it's a request, can you? then we're going to be using ing. Bummer, not boomer, bummer. B-U-M-M-E-R. Oh, bummer. Okay. I need to stop here now because I actually need to quickly run to my school to teach lessons. And I don't want to be late for my lessons at my school. Yes, very funny. I'll put it in here. Bummer. Yes. Okay. Number 7 and 8. 7 and 8 are homework. So you can just pause the lesson right here. Anybody's watching in the replay, or if you're watching live, just pause it after the lesson is done. Number 7 and 8 are homework. Please put your answers in the comment section. Today is Saturday. Tomorrow is Sunday. I will be doing another live lesson tomorrow. So if you have any questions about this lesson and you're going to join me tomorrow, you can ask me during that time as well. So I will be live tomorrow morning, same time as today. I will be live. I might be a little bit, maybe a little later, maybe 9, but basically in the morning, I will be doing a live. So if you have any questions regarding today, just ask me tomorrow or in the comment section. People on the replay, please do number 7 and 8 for homework. And remember, if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button. Subscribe. It's completely free. And I need to go. I'm very sorry for abruptly ending the live, but I do need to go to my school. Thank you very much for your lesson. Good luck on your school. Thank you. Thank you very much. Perfect. Amazing. I'm in. Supergirl. See you tomorrow. All right, guys. Number 7 and 8 for homework. Today was advanced grammar. A little bit difficult, but it's very useful, especially for business and for traveling. And I know I said I need to go, but this question here that I'm moving around on the screen. Can you tell me if there is blah, blah, blah near here? Great question when you're traveling. Great question when you're traveling. Please remember that question when you travel. All right. Dio, thank you for listening. Thank you very much, Dio, for joining me. As always, thanks for coming back. And Supergirl, I'm glad you learned a lot. All right, everybody, thank you so much, but I need to go. I need to run to my school. So until tomorrow, see ya.